I am Amanda Mailey. I own ALIST. I'm Amanda Mailey. I own ALIST. I can't do that. My name is Amanda Mailey. I own ALIST. It's a marketing and business consultancy for women of color entrepreneurs. Back in 2020, when all of us were going through the pandemic and stuck in our homes, I was interested in researching how many women-owned businesses existed in Portland, Oregon. So I started doing some research and then cataloging that research on Instagram. As a marketer of over 20 years, I know that 85% of the consumer spending influence within households are by women. And as I looked at the demographic of all the women-owned businesses, I started to piece together that if we can connect women with other women-owned brands, that we might have the power of influence to really make a difference. Well, if we could harness the power of the spending consumer, which are predominantly women, and bring that to the women-owned brands and businesses, that might generate the growth and maturity that we need. 70% of businesses that were started in 2020 were started by women of color. And I truly believe that this activism of stepping outside of a job and starting another business, or starting their own business, is really a moment for these women to answer the pay gap in getting underpaid, in taking control of their lives, and really stepping outside of environments that truly erase who they are. And the more that I witness and watch women entrepreneurs come into their own as their business matures, the more I see this shift in these women with confidence and power as they have plucked themselves out of these environments that have been oppressing them for so long, and see how they step into that power, and then how that pervades out to other women and the effect that comes from that. And that to me is the genesis of women supporting women. And it's a mantra, it's a way of life, it's how I've gone about living my life. A majority of the products that I purchase, either they're consumer product goods, professional services, or the food that I eat and bring home to my family, they're from women-owned brands. And I've really seen the effect and impact of that action, not only in my household and around my family, but also the people that have become my friends and my colleagues through the connection of a joint purpose of building a new blueprint for women of tomorrow. So I mentioned that I started the Instagram channel in 2020. We're now close to 3,000 people following there. Majority of them are women-owned businesses here in Portland. And in January of 2022, a couple of things happened. One, I definitely got COVID and I was coming back from what that felt like. And for anyone who went through COVID that had the type of symptoms, which I had pretty severe symptoms, it really does something to you, to really contemplate your place in the world and thinking about ways of, if I come out of this, what you're gonna do different. And I really had that moment for me. And for those that are residents here in Portland, Oregon especially, the food scene is incredibly important, not just from getting the best food maybe in the country, but many people don't know this. When you think about it and you really dig into the research, the #1 industry that employs people of color is the food service industry. And so when I was seeing that wildly underfunded, and even people that I know that work here in Portland and own their own restaurant, they were supposed to be awarded money and they did not get the money they were told they were going to get. And so in conversation with a colleague of mine, we thought, well, what could we do? What could we do to help independent restaurants? And so as I was doing things in the digital space, I was trying to think of what we could do in the physical space with the same premise of women supporting women. So I put it out there on the Instagram channel to see, would anybody want to get together who are boss women on a regular basis? I do things on Wednesdays. And so I thought, well, maybe on the last Wednesday of every month, maybe we could get together in a physical space and bring our consumer dollars to a woman-owned restaurant. And we did that for the first time in February. And from then on, we had 10 different experiences. So 10 months in a row, we raised nearly $30,000 that we distributed to over 30 different women-owned businesses. And we sold over 600 tickets. And that included about 300 women experiencing at least one of these events. And they turned into a support group. So many things were happening in our country, in this world, and as an entrepreneur, every day is a battle, that it became the day of the month that most of us looked forward to. And I had no idea at the time what I was building, but I knew I was doing it and building it with so many amazing women. I collaborated with over 60 women over these 10 months. And WSW sort of took on a mind of its own and got bigger than me, which to me is the sign of a really good and much needed concept in this city, to not just serve people individually, serve businesses individually, but how can we unify them together so that we can help each other. And that is the big message and learning that I received through 2022 in doing these meetups.